Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sherrard Show. I'm your host, Sherrard. Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. I know I'm so excited about today's episode on the show. This man has started an anthem over 40 years ago, and we're going to be talking about it. It's amazing his impact on the music industry as well. On our very special topic today, things really changed in the music industry, featuring Charlie Prince, the man himself. But before we get to Charlie, the Sherrard Show is brought to you by Pure Essence Television, where you can see some of the greatest episodes of your life from Joe Montega, Melissa Manchester, Michael Collier, leaders of the new school. So many other great episodes are currently trending on Pure Essence Television. Just click the link right there on your monitor, and you can be able to download the greatest episodes of your life. It's also brought to you by iHeartRadio. If you missed this broadcast on television, you can also listen to it on iHeartRadio. Just click the link there. You can smile and drive. And then also it's brought to you by my Raw Ra's shoe collection, limited edition shoes, purses, you name it. Every $1 goes to the fight for the cure for lupus. Well, oftentimes you know where you were when you heard "Whoop, There It Is," or when you heard Jodeci's "Cry for You" and so many other great songs. But where were you in 1984 when the roof is on fire came out? I know where I was, ladies and gentlemen. And right now we have the man right here to talk about being the hit maker, as well as what he's been up to some 41 years later. The man himself, Mr. King Charlie Prince. Welcome to the Sherrard Show, sir. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm great.
It's an honor having you on the show as well, sir. As I mentioned off camera, you're looking like Run DMC themselves. So now, Charlie, let's jump right into it. Well, how did you get started in the industry? Now, back then, you were going up against breakdancing was still in, and then you had beatboxing, you had Kool Moe Dee, you had all these things coming on, but you came up with a hit some 41 years ago. Tell us about your start.
Well, it all started out before I even started making records. I was doing shows from in New Haven, Connecticut. And a brother by the name of Cody and Andre hooked it up for me and the group. During that time we wasn't a group at the time. We was just guys that grew up in the same building. You had me, Charlie Prince, you had Rick, who's also known as Slick Rick, not the Lottie Dottie Slick Rick, but the original Slick Rick. That's it, Slick Rick on the request line. But then you had my partner Greg, who lived next door from me, named MBG. Now he was the one who put the group together because he, at the time, you know, the guy Cody and Andre is his cousins, and they wanted to know if he can get any groups down there to perform at this place called the La Joint. And so MBG Greg, the one who lived next door from me, he got me and Rick together. And at the time, MBG wasn't with the group, so we had another guy named Buster, and they got us together. We went to New Haven, Connecticut, and we started performing, doing like routines. We didn't have a record then. We was doing routines like if you listen to Luther Vandross, we was like, it's time to go and it's about that time we end our party. So come on, y'all, and clap your hands and move your sexy body. But we was using the singing from Luther's song, but we made our own words to it. But we was doing routines. But then as time was going by, we came back to New York and we was trying to figure out what we was gonna call the group because we didn't have no name because at that time, you know, they called it Charlie D and the Crew because back then my name was Charlie D. Everybody had a D on their name and a ski, Greg Ski, Charlie D, stuff like that. So I was Charlie D and Rick was Ricky D and Buster, who was the original Buster before Buster Rhymes, but he was Buster B. You know what I'm saying? And we came back to New York and we noticed that it was a guy because there was a McDonald's that used to be a Burger King that used to be across the street from our building. And we noticed that they was changing it and making something else from it. So we was curious to find out what was going on over there. So we went over there and we saw that we met this guy named Jerry Bloodrock, and he was changing the Burger King into a club called Your Spot. And we wanted to find out. So when we found out, he told us about it. He started asking us, do we know any groups that would like to perform? And
Now,
of
now,
course,
now, Charlie, what year was this?
this was like in 1980, no, 82. And so eventually he put stuff together with a couple of groups, and we was battling each other. Different groups was battling at this club called Your Spot. And of course, we won the battle. Now, Rockmaster Scott at the time, he was a DJ for another group that was in the battle. But when we won the battle the next day, Rockmaster Scott wanted to meet us. Next thing you know, he ended up being with us. I guess he left the group and came to us. Now back then he was called Master Scott, but Jerry Bloodrock, who was the club owner, put Rock from Blood Rock on his name, so now it became Rock Master Scott, and then the Dynamic Three. But at that time, we didn't have a name called. We didn't have Dynamic Three at the time. We was called the Devilish Three, and then we found out somebody had that name, and then we end up with Dynamic Three because back then they had those dynamic microphones. So we end up calling ourselves the Dynamic Three, and it was Rockmaster Scott, the Dynamic Three. And then we started practicing in Rick mom's house, and she was more like, may she rest in peace, but she was like more like our manager, telling us what we was doing wrong and doing right. And then one time came the owner of the club. He asked us, did we want to make a record? We was like, really? Yeah, why not? So he um he put everything together, and in a couple of weeks he called us on our beepers at the time, because they had beepers instead of cell phones. And we called him back, and he asked us to meet him at a studio called Unique. So we ended up going down there. We didn't even have a song, so we was on a D train, and I was writing a song as we was going down there. And then um we came up with a song called It's Life, You Gotta Think Twice. That was our first song. And when we got to the studio, we were so impressed because we saw all this equipment, and we were like, wow, we ain't never seen nothing like this before. And then we started recording. We heard the beat and everything, and then we started recording. But at that time, we was reading from off the paper. So it wasn't coming out that good because we were still learning it. So he gave us a cassette tape to take home and study it so we can go back to the studio and re-record the song. Once we got the lyrics down pat, we came down there, we laid it down, called It's Life, You Got to Think Twice. And a brother named Wiz Kid did the beat. And after we made that song, a couple of weeks later, Jerry Bloodrock pulls up on the block, and he tell us to come downstairs, and he pops the trunk. He give us 10 records a piece. And we was like, oh wow. Oh man, we really got records. So he gave us 10 a piece and said we can give it to our family members. And we was happy. And during that time I was working in a record shop called Rock and Soul. And I used to be selling everybody else's songs. But when my song came out, I forgot about everybody else's song and started trying to promote mine. I was telling people about the song, and
Now, Charlie, what song was it? Was it your hit song or was it just a song?
it was a song, our
Mhm.
first song called It's Life. You Got to Think Twice. And then next thing you know, WBLS was playing it on regular rotation for a good while. And when we heard it on the radio, we was calling each other on the phone, turn to WBLS, turn to WBLS. And we was like the five heartbeats. We was happy running around. Next thing you know, um, suddenly it got off a regular rotation because Sucker MCs came out. And when Sucker MCs came out, that took our slot. All we heard was dun, 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 dun. And we was like, wait a minute, what happened to our song? I don't know
Now,
what Russell
what was on the B side of the record?
on It's Life You Gotta Think Twice. It was
Yeah,
just
what?
It was just a dub version. It
Okay,
wasn't,
okay.
yeah, it wasn't another song. It was a dub version of it, you know. And when Sucker MCs came out, it took our song off the rotation. So we knew we had to go back in the studio again. So
Now,
that's when
now,
we came up with Request Line. And the reason why we called it Request Line because we knew that people calls on the request line to request songs on the radio station. So we said, let's call it the Request Line. So when we made Request Line, we completed that. But my producer, Jerry Bloodrock, may he rest in peace, he wanted a B-side. That's when we did The Roof is on Fire.
now,
Now,
now, now, who wrote that? The roof is on fire.
I wrote it.
Mhm. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, what
And
was the inspiration behind it? Were you at a place where the roof was on fire while you were performing?
no, actually, a lot of people never understood the symbolic meaning of The Roof is on Fire. You see, when you had it up to here with the BS, that represents the roof.
Yeah, true. Very true.
And when you had it up to here, you start to spit that truth. The truth represents the fire. And when the fire started burning the enemy's kingdom down, the enemy would say, the roof was on fire. And the righteous would say, we don't need no water, let it burn. You know what I'm saying? So
So,
people
that's,
never,
so it's far deeper than what most people know.
right, they took it as a party song, you know. And it was a party song at one point, but it had a meaning to it, you know. And every interview that I've done, I explained it to people and they was like, oh, wow, that's pretty deep, you know, because, you know, when the enemy kingdom is burning, we ain't gonna care. I'm gonna say, let it burn. You know what I'm saying?
So now, Charlie, for those who are just joining us, we're talking to King Charlie Prince, the writer as well as the performer of The Roof is on Fire, the hit from 1984. We will be taking your questions momentarily as well. Now, Charlie, how did your life change once that song hit the charts and started skyrocketing?
The funny thing about this was we was young and we did request line and my mom's, you know, she was so happy as a Christian woman. She heard the song request line, so she ran to her girlfriend's house to play it. But then when she played the flip side and heard me cursing, she came back with an attitude. She said, you cursing on songs? So my way out of that was I said, Mom, we just said the roof was on fire. The audience said the other part. You know what I'm saying? So that was my way out. But eventually, you know, she got past it and we never thought that the roof was on fire was gonna be something popular because the whole world is singing it now, you know? And it's got to the point where you listen to rock and roll groups are singing it. You got these people doing it on movies. You got Tyler Perry did it on his show. Steve Harvey did it on his show. Chris Rock did it on his show. Remember when he did that movie, The President? And he was up there jamming and he said the roof was on fire. The people started screaming and running out. He said, no, 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 it's a song, you know. Then Eminem did it on his show, 8 Mile, and it just carried on and carried on. Then you got people that when they perform now today, they still do it, you know. And we never thought it was going to be that popular because the roof is on fire was only sung at the end of the song. It wasn't like it was a chorus or a hook to the song. It was sung at the end, but people thought it was just a party, you know,
Anthem.
something they
They thought it was an anthem.
yeah, they thought it was just a regular anthem, but they didn't know it was a real song, you know. And then Missy Elliott, she also used request line when she did work it, you know, because when we did it, DJ, please pick up your phone. I'm on a request line. Now, mind you, I was at work one day and I had a little radio next to me and I heard DJ, please. I thought they were gonna play my song. And all I heard was chicka 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 chicka. I'm like, wait a minute. That ain't my song, you know. But she used the first part of the song. So I started making phone calls and I started calling my publishing company and I'm like, yo, let me know what's going on. We want to get paid, you know. But one thing about us as a group, although we was making music and songs, we learned the business at a young age so that we don't get played at the end. You know, a lot of artists made songs and they ain't getting nothing up today I just got a check recently, last week. You know what I'm saying? So it's been coming and coming and coming and coming. You know,
Every
and I
since
always
ever since 1984.
ever since 1983.
Oh
You
wow.
know, and I try to tell people every day, don't just make songs, learn the business because these companies they will get over in a heartbeat.
Now,
You know,
Now, Charlie, do you feel like you've maximized the royalties on or your earnings on that song, or do you feel like you got ripped off early on before you knew the business?
no, because early we knew the business, so we was collecting from day one. You know, we we when Request Line came out, it was funny because we had a show in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and also had a show in Brooklyn. So we split the group up, and two of them went to Brooklyn, and me and Rockmaster Scott went to Fayetteville. And my first time in a big arena, I'm like, all I did was walk on the stage, and the crowd was going crazy. I felt like Michael Jackson. I was like, oh damn, it's like that. I didn't even have to say nothing, just waved my hand like this, and the crowd was going crazy. I said, wow. But when
So, Charlie, where did your career go from there after that hit song? Were you able to keep up with that success by other hits, or kind of tanked out?
No, actually, I got a couple of more albums out now, and I'm still working on stuff. You know what I'm saying? I also produced a lot of people, and I help others, and I did a lot of features. I had a lot of features on my songs and stuff like that. So I'm still doing it because it's in my heart. You know, I love to do it. You know, and I'm ready to start working on my new album coming soon. You know. But what I'm doing is I'm taking my time because I got too many out there right now, so I don't want to rush it. You know.
Very good. Now the group is still together. You all still together, or you're solo artists now?
Well, I'm the artist now, but the group will come. We would do a show if the price is right. Other than that, they are not going to just get up there and do free stuff because a lot of these promoters today, they always talking about it's a donation, it's this, it's that. Meanwhile, nobody get paid, but they get paid and we get played. No, we don't do that.
Very
So
good. Very good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we come back. We're going to take questions from the audience. And then I got another question for the man himself, Mr. King Charlie Prince. We'll be right back right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a returning guest on the show. If you ever thought Tim Conway was funny, just wait till you hear Mr. Tim Hayes. Welcome back to the Sherrod Show.
Oh, you're never too old. Never, ever, never give up.
Never surrender.
I mean, you have the unique blend, it seems, where you're funny as a comedian, stand-up comedian, and then you're funny sitcom funny as well. Not everybody has that unique blend.
I want to live in the world you live in. A superstar actor? No. I'm a working actor.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sherrod Show. I'm your host, Sherrod, for our Tuesday conversation with the man himself, Mr. King Charlie Prince. He is the writer and the performer of this hit song, "A Roof is on Fire." Way back in 1984, where were you? Many people who listen to it today weren't even born back then. But Charlie, tell me now, what kind of advice would you give people, for example, who have anthems or hit songs or want to record something big? How can they protect themselves from getting ripped off from the big wigs?
learning the business. They ever want if they ever want to know anything, they are free to ask me, and I will guide them. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how these companies can be today. You know, they all for themselves. You know, and you can never find them. And you know, today it's not like doing music on vinyl no more. Everything is internet now. You know what I'm saying? So you got to stay focused. You gotta be with a publishing company, and you got to stay on top of that publishing company. Make sure that they stay on top of your songs so you can get paid, you know, and not played.
Very good. All right, it's time for questions from our audience. We have a few questions for our guests. We have quite a few questions, but we only have time for two or three. First question, this one is from Jason. This is from Jason Cross. He's from Chicago, Illinois. He's saying,
Mhm.
wow, Sherrod has never had King Charlie Prince on the show. This anthem was huge in Chicago clubs all over Chicago. That's absolutely correct. It was. His question is, which was bigger? Whoop, there it is, or the roof is on fire?
Hmm. Yeah, I would say the roof was on fire because everybody ain't using whoop. There it is. Yeah, a lot of people was using the roof was on fire. You know, there was a time they blamed us and in Philly that Philly had a situation where they started everything caught on fire down there, and they started blaming the song, and they asked me about it, and I said I don't know anything about it. It's in the articles, and I told them I didn't know anything about it. And they asked me, well, where you from? Because how you don't know nothing about it? And there was another time that they have 43 people got injured in a party because the fireman was trying to tell them the roof was on fire. They was just dancing. They didn't even get out. They was partying. You know,
That really happened?
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I was surprised. Like,
Wow.
but now when I look at what's going on in California, I don't even think I want to perform the roof was on fire there. You know.
Yeah, yeah, that's something. But it's not, it was bad. It was bad out here, but the news gonna always make it seem worse, but it was bad enough. But definitely, I thank God for these wonderful firefighters who help
Mhm.
save so many lives and was able to really, really contain them and stop them from getting worse. Really appreciate that. Big shout out to our firefighters.
It's funny. It's funny because every fire department know who I am. You know. When I see them, I say, the roof is on fire, and they'll finish the rest. And when I tell them, when I tell them who made the song, they be like, get out of here. No, you. I was like, yeah. And then
Very good, very good.
I showed them the information. They'd be like, oh, wow. Then they want to take a picture with me and stuff, you know?
Very good. All right. We have time for one more question. This is from Heather. She is from Baltimore, Maryland. Her question is, how far or how high did Roof is on Fire chart on the Billboard chart or on the R&B chart? How far did it go? Number one, number two, how far did it go?
Number one.
Wow.
Yep. I still got the document too.
Mhm.
You know, it went number one on the charts.
Very
And
good.
I don't know if you can see this, but if you look at this, you see all my plaques on the wall there,
Mhm. Wow. Wow. Very impressive. Very
you know,
impressive. I
and
see right there.
I
Um,
got double platinums also, you
so you
know,
got diamond records and gold records and things like that?
platinums, no gold, platinums.
Very good. Now, we have a lot more questions, but we're just about out of time. So where can they reach out to you if they have more questions on social media or on your email address or anything you have for the audience?
Well, they can reach me on Instagram, they can reach me on TikTok, they can reach me on Facebook. I'm on all platforms, you know what I'm saying? Um, Now, if you want to find my music, just remember, I'm not under Charlie Prince anymore. I'm under King Charlie Prince.
King
It's
Charlie Crane.
right. It's King Charlie together, space, then Prince. And then you'll find me because they keep trying to mix me with Prince Charles, you know, and I'm not him, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I gotta
Very
let you
good.
know it's King Charlie Prince. Matter of fact, um,
Is that how we locate you on the fans locate you on Facebook and TikTok and all that as well?
absolutely. Matter of fact, you can see this is here. If you look at it, um, it's right. This is the way it's written. If you can see it.
Okay, very good. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
Uh,
We got it. All right. So the audience members know now how to reach out to you. We really appreciate you stopping by on the Sherrod Show. If you're ever in LA, please stop by. We'd love to have you to perform in our Burbank studios as well. Any final thoughts and words, Charlie?
It'll be a great honor. I'd like to say peace and blessings to each and every one. And God bless you all and stay strong and walk with God and not the devil.
Amen. We really thank you so much, King Charlie Prince, for being on the show. Also, stay tuned for our next episode on the show where we have Mr. Sean Kane and Mike Barnes from Cobra Kai, as well as another special guest stopping by, Mr. Billy D. Williams, and then one other. We're very, very busy. Wonderful. Make sure you subscribe on the Pure Essence Television Network, as well as download the Pure Essence Television app. See this episode and many more on there. And also remember, ladies and gentlemen, the best way to get back on your feet is to miss 3 car payments. I'm Sherrod. We'll see you next time. Bye now.